Done a little bit of screwdriver work with the old VE pump. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Just gotta have the right tool with you.
What's up, guys? Welcome to this week's video. So it's a new year, but we still got the same old problems. We are short on time and we are short on know-how. So this week when me and my dad are working on my 41 Ford, we're gonna be reposting this old video. It's basically an introduction story for where my truck came from, where my dad's truck came from, and how we got where we are. You can tell it's an old video because my dad thought that this channel was still all about him. So it's just a video with him in it, not me.
Okay, she's not wrong about that last part. This video is basically just me telling the story of why we're doing what we're doing. But that's primarily because when I made that video, and it's still true today, this video is really for you dads out there. So pay attention to what's going on here because I think it's important and it's worth reposting. And if you're looking for a great way to support the channel, you can go to crossthreadgarage.com, grab yourself some stickers, or you may have already noticed Caitlin's got a new sweatshirt on. So do I. This one is going to be on the site live when this video goes out. So grab yourself a brand new premium hoodie for the winter. We got the sleeve print.
Really nice material.
It's like a 3-piece hood, nice big heavy, what do you call these straps? Pulls, ties?
Strings.
I don't know. They're going to get cut off so we don't get them caught in a grinder, but you can keep yours, you know, if you want. I will tell you this, guys, while they're a nice premium hoodie, they are really nice. They are sized a little bit small. If I were ordering again, I'd probably be ordering a 2XL. I'm normally a large, extra large. I went with an extra large. I could push it up a size and still be comfortable, especially if I'm wearing something underneath it. So grab yours today at crossthreadgarage.com.
Ooh.
And so these videos, this channel, the project truck, all it is really a thing that's designed to really force me to say, here's the time I'm spending with my daughter. This is how we're gonna do it. Picture it with me. It's June 2020. The world's pretty much shut down from well, you know what was going on. And I was still working one day a week in Fowler, Colorado, which is my way of trying to say that I was pastoring a church there. More about that later. I just finished a Master's of Divinity, and this old 47 truck had been sitting out in my pasture for about 3 years. Had brought it home a few years earlier, and in the meantime I'd had a couple of first-gen Dodges, and I knew what I wanted to do was a cab swap on this 47 to something with a Cummins and a 5-speed. And so while I had one of those first-gen Dodges, it was an automatic, had a 727 automatic transmission in it. I took some measurements on the frame and the engine bay and wheelbase, and I kind of knew it was gonna fit. I just didn't know how. Crossthread Garage was born one day when my wife went to the grocery store, and I decided that it was time for me to pull the cab and the bed off of my 1990 Dodge truck that was my daily driver at the time. She came home from the shop and saw this in the driveway. Chassis, motor, trans, everything's still in it, but no body. It was sitting out by the road with a for sale sign on it already. And she looked at me. She didn't say a word. She walked in the house. And that was the day Crossthread Garage was born. It took me 17 days, start to finish, to build the truck that you see behind me. That's everything. I pulled out of the driveway in this rig 17 days after I pulled the body off my 1990 Dodge. And I joked with folks in my church and community there. We're in a small town in eastern Colorado about starting a garage called Crossthread Garage, because I had done it, but I hadn't done anything right. It just made it work. Crossthread Garage was an idea. It was a joke. It was something that I talked about getting painted on the side of the door of this truck and getting a shop name put on it, you know. Well, you fast forward a couple of years, and my 12-year-old daughter has about $1,000 sitting there that she had earned over the couple of years, and we had been selling some goats and stuff for her, and well, she wanted to buy a pickup truck. And we started looking around, and she wanted an old truck like Dad's. So we bought her a 1941 Ford. It's a 1.5 or 2 ton, I've not been able to quite figure it out yet, cab and chassis truck. It's an old military truck that had turned into a city maintenance vehicle. That's why it's painted DOT orange, and had been bought by a neighbor of ours in 1975, parked behind his garage and stayed there until Caitlin bought it in 2021, early 2021. Well, it's still sitting in Colorado. Our plan is to bring it out here this spring and begin working on it. And the plan is to do a rat rod type restoration, put some modern chassis components underneath it, make it a drivable vehicle for Caitlin for her first truck. And I determined that if I was going to do that with her, I was going to need to teach her a few things, so I could give her some instructions when we started working on the 41 and have some confidence that she could manage it. So the idea to start a YouTube channel where I teach her how to do some of the basic things you've been seeing on this channel was hatched, and we did that this year. Let me walk you around the truck that started Crossthread Garage and tell you a little bit more about how all this came together. As a kid, I went to the Cleveland Autorama the year that Chevrolet unveiled the Chevy SSR. You know what that is? I'll show you a picture here. I thought that truck was the coolest thing. I think it's horribly ugly now, but as a kid I thought it was so cool because it looked like a throwback to the old advanced design pickups from the 47 was the first year. They went through 54 for the cab. 54 had a different front clip. I actually built a 54 rat rod after this one for a friend on a 1-ton dually chassis with the same motor and trans setup. But I always wanted one. I always wanted an advanced design pickup. And so when the opportunity came to buy this one, I bought it really not knowing what I was going to do with it. I just knew this thing was too good to pass up. The wheels and tires are temporary. I say they're temporary, but they've been that way for 3 years now. The bed is an old stake bed trailer. Actually, it's an old Hobbs trailer. You see the data tags are still on there. That was originally 12 foot long and 8 foot wide, but I sectioned, oh, forgot my wrench. Nope, that's not going anywhere. I sectioned the bed in every corner, all 4 corners. Sectioned it here and here. Took 5 feet out of the length of the bed, 18 inches out of the width of the bed, put it all back together, kept the original wood that was in the bed, used the 5-foot section I'd taken out on the sides to make myself a mitered box to access the gooseneck hitch that's still underneath here. The headache rack was taller than the truck and just square, so we rounded off the edges, cut a few feet off the bottom of it, got it setting down just below the window there, and put the bed together. The beautiful thing about a truck from Colorado is that it's basically rust free. I mean, you're looking at this and you're going, yeah, it's a rusty patina, but none of that is faked. Original pinstriping. It's originally a blue truck. The visor's off of a Dodge DeSoto. It's been repainted. You can see it's been repainted. This door is off of a later truck. 47s didn't have the corner cab windows. That's probably why they put the doors on it. They wanted the vent windows. So they painted blue on what was originally a turquoise door. All the blue faded off, the turquoise stayed. But look at the cab corners here. There's not a spot of rust in there. Somebody drove over a rock that was too tall there. Marker lights are original glass. I put a little LED light in there so they come on. Put in a little LED marker here. They had those big round corner marker lights that they put on in the 60s or 70s when the DOT regulated them, but the hole that it left when I pulled it out was perfect for that little amber LED light. Set up a nice set of Jeep Wrangler headlights. Put some speed pins in here. Those just fall into the inside of the cab cowl. You guys got to pull these pins out, drop them through. You'd say to yourself, now, isn't this really irritating? Every time you have to check the oil like this? Yeah, it would be irritating if I ever checked the oil in this thing, but it's got such a big oil leak underneath that I figure as long as it's still dropping, it's got fluid in it, so why fix it if it's not broken? So here's the 1990 12 valve Dodge Cummins. It's a Cummins, not a Cummings, a Cummins. I've done a few little things to it. Done a little bit of screwdriver work with the old VE pump. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. This is obviously not factory. This is a second generation HX35 turbo. Took the H1C, little baby H1C turbo out of there, put that HX35 on there, bolts right up to the existing manifold. So the thing's got some bad oil leaks, the radiator's loose. That radiator, you're gonna hear this a lot, but it's temporary. I've got an aluminum one sitting in the garage, just haven't had time to put it in. So it's basically a stock Dodge underneath here, which means it's leaking terribly at the tappet cover. Got the old drug rugs for the seat covers. I lowered the seat 2 inches so I could get my big old 6'2" frame and thighs underneath the original steering wheel. Had to modify for a trans tunnel. This is actually the garbage can that I had in my shop, and I didn't account for having to make a trans tunnel when I first started this project, but as soon as I set the cab down, I realized something was going to have to happen down here. So we got a trans tunnel made out of an old trash barrel. This is the top off of the boots that I was wearing while I was building this thing.
And we put our jeans over it. And that's just the way we've been doing it.
This is the original Dodge shifter with a pie cut in it right here. And then I took the original shifter off of the 47, welded it here, brought it back up to the threaded piece on the top of the Dodge shifter, and went ahead and grabbed the Dodge hood ornament off of my 1990, threaded it, and made a shift handle out of it. I don't know, I kind of like it. You might ask yourself, what do you got a fire extinguisher in the vehicle for? Well, number one, you're driving an old vehicle, it's always good to have a fire extinguisher somewhere in the vehicle. A lot of folks think it's because I've got a terrible fuel leak right behind my injection pump, which I do. But the fact is that diesel's not that flammable. Actually, I've got that fire extinguisher in here because when I wired in that push button start, I didn't put it on a relay.
What's wrong with you?
I was in a hurry, you know? What's a relay going to do for a guy? If a vehicle can't survive being burned up with a little bit of wire, is it really worth driving? Put a push start button on the dash, and I actually put that in there as a joke so that my friends and family, the first time they got in to drive it, I could tell them, just jump in it, turn the power on, hit the start button on the dash. I just about had my brother jump out of his shorts the first time he did that. Had an old Iowa 1922 plate sitting around in the garage, threw that guy up there. Also got my carbide lamp hanging from the roof. Plan's actually to wire in a LED here, and that'll be my dome light. I don't know how many miles were on the Dodge truck when I pulled the body off of it. The odometer had quit working at about 240,000 miles. But that clutch pedal will give you a little bit of the evidence of the wear on the drivetrain. I'm guessing the motor and trans are somewhere over 300. Runs pretty good. Let me start it up here for you. Got a secret starting sequence here. The right tool with you. Kids, don't misuse this information. Figure out how to steal somebody's first-gen Dodge. I knew one day I wanted to make this thing run and drive and look the way it looks. I mean, people ask me all the time, are you going to paint this thing? Are you crazy? It took 75 years for it to look like this. Why would I mess it up with a new paint job? So I knew I wanted to keep this original fuel tank off of the 47, but the truck already had the plastic fuel tank from the 90 Dodge in it. So I turned this into my battery box. Put a little weather stripping on it, mounted a couple of hinges on the backside, used an old gear from I think that's from a planter or a combine or something. Then I had a problem, which was, what am I going to fill the other side with? And I had this old Texaco can as a garbage can in my garage, so I took a lid from another barrel, tack welded it on. I squished it a little bit to flatten the face so that I could weld that door in there. So I had this door sitting in the garage. This was a piece I just wanted to be able to use as a toolbox door. I think that's from an old Ford Highboy, actually. You've heard a little bit about how the truck was put together and seen some of the interesting things that had to be done to make it work. But I want to tell you about why we started the YouTube channel. I joke sometimes about just being a guy that used to work one day a week in Fowler, Colorado, but the fact of the matter is that as a young man, the Lord got a hold of my life, and I not only turned to Christ in repentant faith, but I committed that if the Lord would be pleased and would lead, I'd be willing to do anything He ever asked me to do. And consequence of that was heading off to Bible college as a high school graduate, preparing for the ministry, finishing a master's in historical theology, and going into the pastorate. I had the distinct privilege of pastoring a congregation of people in Fowler, Colorado for 12 years. Some of the best, no, not just some, they were the best years of my life to date. And the Lord did something kind of unexpected in the summer of 2021. Directed my life and family into a new ministry, serving with an agency that serves churches and missionaries internationally in about 52 countries. And my responsibility as an administrator with that organization has provided for a lot of opportunities for travel for me in the last year and a half. Just got back from 10 days in Southeast Asia. I've come to the realization the last few months that the opportunities to spend time with my kids are becoming fewer and further between as they're engaged in some extracurricular activities, playing sports and all these things. And the YouTube channel, with a commitment from Caitlin to learn how to work on old vehicles, was really just an effort in purposeful parenting. I wanted her to learn all this stuff. I wanted her to know how to fix an old vehicle. I wanted her to know how to change a tire. I wanted her to be able to look at something and diagnose a problem on a vehicle that she's driving, because I know I'm not always going to be there for her, but I want to be there for her now. And so these videos, this channel, the project truck, all it is really a thing that's designed to really force me to say, here's the time I'm spending with my daughter. This is how we're going to do it. Creates a kind of a weekly appointment for us to spend a little bit of time in the garage. And I think it'll be fun for us to look back on these. In fact, that was the only point of the channel, was to document what we were doing and create a scheduled, purposeful time together. I never really expected the videos to do all that well. You guys have made that happen, and we are so grateful to you for that. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that, because you're going to want to follow along as Caitlin and I finish the 81 GMC project truck and turn our attention this year to the 41 Ford with a flathead V8 in it that Caitlin's going to be building. This old truck is just a truck. It was the start of Crossthread Garage in terms of a concept and idea 3 years ago. What it is today is the thing that is being used to connect my now teenage daughter and me, despite the fact that my ministry assignments have me traveling pretty broadly and fairly frequently. I'm grateful for it. Don't get me wrong. I love the things that God's allowing me to do. But I love my family because they're my first ministry. And I came to the realization, because that's true, it meant I needed to be purposeful about how I engage my children as their father and my wife as her husband. So I've been really encouraged by some of you who've been watching and commenting, and appreciative of the time that a dad is getting with his daughter here in the garage. And it's an encouragement to me to know that there are other guys out there that recognize what's going on here. It's not just about making jokes or being silly or being productive with a YouTube channel. So whatever it is, moms, dads, kids who might be watching, just recognize that the time that you spend together, whatever it is you're doing, in a shared experience, are memories and experiences that won't be easily forgotten. And if it's purposeful, it will certainly be used to grow the relationship even stronger. So remember, if something's going to get done, someone's going to have to do it. Probably no good reason why it shouldn't be you. We'll see you next time here on Crossthread Garage and Salvage when we get back to work on the 81 GMC.